Welcome to a new episode from English Plus Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a very special person from the history of art and, to be honest, the history of a lot of other things, because he was not only good at art, he was almost good at everything. We're talking about Leonardo da Vinci. We will talk about Leonardo da Vinci, a little bit about his life, how he was good at everything. We will talk about his most famous paintings, his drawings, and notebooks. And of course, after we finish talking about Leonardo da Vinci, because this is English Plus Podcast, we will talk about some key vocabulary that we will come across while we're talking about Leonardo da Vinci. So now, without further ado, let's start talking about this exceptional man from history, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci excelled as a painter, sculptor, architect, engineer, and scientist. He had endless curiosity. Leonardo wanted to understand how things worked. He wanted to put down on paper what he saw. He left thousands of pages and drawings and notes that recorded his thoughts. Leonardo was born in 1452 in the small town of Vinci near Florence, Italy. He had little schooling and was largely self-taught. Leonardo seemed to be good at everything he tried. He was handsome, a good speaker, and a fine musician. He trained as a painter with Andrea del Verrocchio, a leading artist in Florence. Leonardo later worked for dukes and kings. Now, what about his most famous paintings? Leonardo produced a relatively small number of paintings, and he left some of them unfinished. But he had original ideas that influenced Italian artists long after his death. Leonardo believed painting was a science. He applied scientific thinking in his art so that his paintings looked more like the real world. One of his important painting techniques was sfumato, a blending of one area of color into another so there are no sharp outlines. Leonardo used sfumato in one of his most famous paintings, the Mona Lisa. When you look at this portrait, notice how colors shade into each other on her face and hands. See how Leonardo has blurred the edges of her mouth to give her the tint of a smile. This mysterious smile has fascinated people for centuries. It looks as if Mona Lisa's expression might change at any moment because of the way Leonardo has softened the edges of the mouth, eyes, and cheeks. She seems almost alive. Many people consider a mural by Leonardo known as The Last Supper to be his masterpiece. Christ, seated in the middle of the Last Supper, has just announced that one of his 12 apostles will betray him. Leonardo places the figures in this painting in a way that increases the drama of the announcement. Christ is the calm center. His body, which is set slightly apart from the others, forms a stable triangle. The apostles are arranged in 4 groups, some leaning toward Christ and some leaning away. Their gestures and the expressions on their faces reveal their reactions to Christ's words. And now what about Leonardo's drawings and notebooks? Drawing was Leonardo's favorite tool. He said that drawing was a better way of communicating ideas than words were. He drew catapults and war machines. He drew the muscles and skeletons of human beings and other animals. He drew clouds, swirling water, and storms. He designed churches that were never built. Leonardo's drawings and theories are contained in numerous notebooks. His ideas were far in advance of what other people were thinking at the time, but the notebooks were not published during his lifetime. Had his notebooks been published, they might have revolutionized scientific thinking in the 1500s. Leonardo's deep love of research was the key to both his artistic and scientific endeavors. Leonardo died in 1519. That was everything we have to say about Leonardo da Vinci, of course, in a nutshell. If you want to dig in deeper and learn more about Leonardo, there's a lot more to learn. But now we will talk about some of the key vocabulary words that we used when we talked about Leonardo da Vinci. But before we do that, let me remind you that you will find everything you need to practice the things we're learning here in English Plus Podcast on our website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com. There's a link that will take you to the custom post we create for every single episode. There you will find the show notes, you will find the keywords, and of course, you will find the interactive activities, and you will find a downloadable PDF practice worksheet you can download, you can do and practice the things you're learning, especially the vocabulary. But that's not everything. There's also listening practice, both intermediate and advanced, and a spelling practice. So you can pick the thing you need the most and practice it. We got you covered. We have everything you need. You just pick the kind of exercise you like. And of course, the answer key is provided as well to help you check your answers. And of course, all of that is provided for you for free. So use this opportunity, take the link that will get you to our website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and take your English to the next level. Now, there's one more thing. Of course, there's another link that will take you to our Patreon page. If you like the content we're creating and you would like to support us to create more of this content and reach more people, of course, help us by becoming a patron of the show, support English Plus Podcast, and help us reach more and more people. Now, that being said, let's move straight away to our vocabulary, the key vocabulary we have in this story about Leonardo da Vinci. Now, let's start with the word excel. We said Leonardo da Vinci excelled as a painter, sculptor, architect, engineer, and scientist. What is the meaning of excel? If someone excels in something or excels at it, they are very good at doing it. So that is the meaning of excel. And our next word is curiosity. We said he had endless curiosity. What is the meaning of curiosity? Now, curiosity is a desire to know about something. It's this feeling that you can't eat or sleep before you know about it. And that was the reason behind some of the most important discoveries in human history. So that was curiosity. What about the next word? The next word is blur. We said Leonardo has blurred the edges of her mouth. We're talking about the Mona Lisa here, to give her the tint of a smile. What is the meaning of blur? Now, when a thing blurs or when something blurs it, you cannot see it clearly because its edges are not longer distinct. Then we have the word mysterious. We said this mysterious smile has fascinated people for centuries. Now, what do we mean by mysterious? Now, someone or something that is mysterious is strange and is not known about or understood. And now for our next word, mural. Now, we said many people consider a mural by Leonardo, known as The Last Supper, to be his masterpiece. Now, the mural is a picture painted on a wall, and it was very famous at the time that they painted especially on the walls of churches. We have the very famous Sistine Chapel we talked about earlier when we had our episode talking about Rome. So that is also a mural, simply a painting on a wall. And the next word is announce. Now, here we said The Last Supper, and Christ has just announced that one of his 12 apostles will betray him. Now, here we have three words, actually. We'll start with announce. Now, if you announce something, you tell people about it publicly or officially. And here we're talking about Christ, and he announced that to his 12 apostles. So, what is the meaning of apostles? Now, the apostles were the followers of Jesus Christ who went from place to place telling people about him and trying to persuade them to become Christians. These were the apostles, like the followers of Jesus Christ, especially those 12 apostles. Now, of course, we can use apostle for other things as well, like an apostle of a particular philosophy, policy, or cause is someone who strongly believes in it and works hard to promote it. But the original word is usually linked to the 12 apostles of Christ. And now for the next word, he announced to them, to the 12 apostles, the one who will betray him. Now, what is the meaning of betray? If you betray someone who loves or trusts you, your actions hurt and disappoint them. So that is betray. Now let's move to the next word, gestures. We're still talking about the Last Supper. We said their gestures and the expressions on their faces reveal their actions to Christ's words. What is the meaning of gestures? Now, a gesture is a movement that you make with a part of your body, especially your hands, to express emotion or information. So that is a gesture. Of course, we have other meanings for gestures, like a gesture is something that you say or do in order to express your attitude or intention. So it's not only body language. It can be something you say as well. But here in our text, it has this meaning. And then we said the expressions on their faces reveal their reactions to Christ's word. What do we mean by reveal? Now, to reveal something means to make people aware of it. Now, we use that especially for secrets sometimes, but it doesn't have to be secrets. Sometimes it's just to reveal something, to make it known, to make people aware of something. And now for the next word, we were talking about Leonardo's drawings and notebooks, and we said that he drew catapults and war machines. Now, what is a catapult? A catapult is a device for shooting small stones. It is made of a Y-shaped stick with a piece of elastic tied between the two top parts. Now, you might have seen that in a lot of movies. Of course, we're talking about movies depicting olden times. Catapults are not used anymore because we have cannons and tanks now. But catapults were used mainly to lay siege on cities, and they were very effective at destroying structures. So these were catapults. Then we have the word swirling. We said he drew clouds swirling water. What is the meaning of swirling? If you swirl something liquid or flowing, or if it swirls, it moves round and round quickly. And that is something that he drew, among the many things that he drew. And then we talked about the word revolutionize. We said, had his notebooks been published, they might have revolutionized scientific thinking in the 1500s. Here, revolutionize obviously comes from the word revolution. And when something revolutionizes an activity, it causes great changes in the way that it is done. And our final word for today is endeavor. Now, we said here Leonardo's deep love of research was the key to both his artistic and scientific endeavors. Now, what do we mean by endeavor? An endeavor is an attempt to do something, especially something new or original. And that attempt was successful on Leonardo's side. He had a lot of successful attempts, and even a lot of things that he created were ahead of his time. People understood those only hundreds of years after he thought about them, and he drew them actually. So that being said, these are all the keywords I want to point out today, and I hope you found the information we shared about Leonardo da Vinci useful. I hope you learned something new about Leonardo you didn't know about before, and of course, I hope you learned some new words that you can use in your own writing and speaking. I will remind you again, take the link you will find in the description of the episode, go to our website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and practice the things you've learned here. Practice your listening, the words, your spelling, anything you need. We've got you covered. We have everything you need to practice your English and take it to the next level. So take the link and take your English with it to the next level. With that being said, I would like to thank you very much for listening to another episode from English Plus Podcast. This is your host, Danny. I will see you next time.